if we go to page 2, no, page 2, one more page. Okay, this is the independent auditor's report, and on the just scroll down a little further. Okay, the most important part of the audit report is the paragraph that says opinion, and in there it says, in our opinion, the consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the consolidated financial position of Six Nations of the Grand River as at March 31st, 2015, and its consolidated reports of operations and its consolidated changes in net financial assets and its consolidated cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. So this is a clean opinion, which is what the goal is on any audit. So now we flip to page 5, or one more. Okay, we'll start off with the statement of operations. This is all the revenues and expenses for the Six Nations. So if we look at the revenues, which is the first section, our overall revenues only increased slightly year over year by roughly $1 million. And if you look at the very first section, which is the user charges, so user charges, which are facility rental fees, anything where we're renting from some of the premises here, like whether it's public works, parks and recreation, the lodge, this is where those revenues show up. So year over year, it's only a marginal increase. The next section is government transfers, which is both federal and provincial. The federal government, under the INAC, you can see there's a decrease of roughly $4 million, and that's due to the water treatment plant. All the build happened the prior year, the revenue would have showed up here. And so when you take that $4 million out, year over year, there's been no increase in federal monies from INAC, which adds to the problems that we have with why we have staffing issues and aging buildings because we can't invest in it. We don't have sufficient funds. The next section is other federal, which is Canada Health and CMHC. And those again are roughly the same. Above that is province of Ontario. They have increased their revenues. Some of it's one time, but they have given enough money that we were able to give some increases to some staff within the provincial governments, depending on what programs receive additional cash. Then we go down to the other revenues. Bingo Hall, this is the last year the Bingo will appear in here because they're now under Development Corp. They did have good revenues, roughly $2 million. The other categories pretty well remain the same. There's only a slight increase in other revenue, and part of that is the monitor revenues, which that's monitor, they do the archaeological monitoring, and it's new beginning the previous year, but we didn't have, there wasn't a lot of activity under that category. And then there's some other revenues that don't fit in the other categories, and they fall under this line. Under expenses, and we've set the expenses in accordance to the committee that provides stewardship over those departments. So in the the expenses have gone up roughly $4 million. Part of that is bingo, like a good piece of that, roughly about $2 million. And then we have increased spending under human services and fiscal and economic department. Now, public works is another department under PD, and they've had some monies that were allotted to them for infrastructure improvements, which is showing up in this line. So at the end of the year, we had a surplus of $2,892,000. So now we'll go to, let's go back to the previous page, page 3. This is the statement of financial position. So these are all our assets and liabilities. So when we compare this year to last year, our cash has gone up significantly, about $5 million, but that's $2 million of that was from a donation for the fire hall from GRE, and the other piece is delays in spending for all of the LP projects, such as Youth and Elders Center, and there's a few other programs. Then the housing loans. We had more housing loans in the previous year, over $1 million more, and that's partly due to more individuals taking out loans, and then some of it's just, we had a lot of renegotiation of mortgages as well, where people decided to take advantage of the improved taxation, interest rates. The next categories, if you go down to financial liabilities, the deferred revenue, again, that went up, and that is again due to the donation from GRE. What we did is because we received the money, but the build of the fire hall did not start until the new year, we deferred that, and that's why that number is increased. Long-term liabilities, we did pay down some loans, roughly $2 million. And then under non-financial assets, tangible capital assets, so this is all our infrastructure. And here, that dropped $4 million, and that's partly due to, we have an aging infrastructure, so each year we depreciate all buildings, any infrastructure like roads, any piping and that. So year over year it has declined. And again, that's the surplus is 158. So now we'll go to